Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of the House of Moody Vintage podcast. Good to be back. Great feeling. Sorry, I just, my singing skills just comes out of nowhere. It just happens. I'm not even in the shower. I have a great voice. No, hey guys, welcome back to Tuesday show. I had great responses from the last episode. A lot of you, DM me, or commented on the, on the reel or whatever. Saying you appreciate it. It was really interesting. So I'm gonna lean on that a little heavier today. A little heavier. I mean, in the sense that it's not most about. I mean, it's mostly about how things used to be and how they are now. This is something I kind of touched base on a couple episodes ago, and I really wanted to sort of have a fleshed out conversation about it. So that's what we're trying to, try and do here on this episode. And of course we will be discussing the movie highlight of the week, right? Or the highlight of the week in movies. Yeah. Anyways, 20th Century Fox. It's Prey. Okay, we're going to be talking about that. That's going to be our movie highlight of the week. I thought it was fantastic, and I thought it was worth reviewing. Or, just, again, avoiding spoilers, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to, share my thoughts as usual. But we're going to save that till the end of the episode. So with that said, I am going to firstly get the sponsors out of the way. Just kidding. I don't have sponsors. I wish it's making money out of this. For now, it's just a free therapy session for me. So, anyways, had a great weekend. Again, another chill weekend. Which I just appreciate. It's just cool to hang out with my mains. With my BKK mains. And eat a lot of light up a joint, eat a lot of food. You know what I'm saying? And chill, watch a movie. We watched a movie. We had a DDLJ night, Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge night. That's what we did over the weekend. Okay, and it was fun. Okay, it's a film that stuck with us for ever since it came out in '95. So, and of course I've mentioned it before how ridiculous it is, the film, okay? Because of today's standards, that shit would not fly. We had a lot of fun. Anyways, but yeah, usual weekend. For some odd reason, I don't know if it's like maybe the lackadaisical nature of how I spent the weekend. Usually it's, there's a lot of activities. We're going to places and things like that, and so much engagement there. This weekend wasn't like that, but for some reason I felt this stupidly, it's like this natural hangover. So Monday morning was not nice to me. I just felt tired and exhausted. It was weird. But anyways, fortunately, I could afford to do that just for that one day. So I took advantage of that. And thankfully, things sort of panned out with work and the workload. So I'm good. I slept in, missed a couple of classes. But like I said, it just panned out and it just worked out perfectly fine. Anyway, so with that said, I wanted to. It's a conversation that I had over the weekend. I don't know how we got to it. I never really usually, remember where the root of this conversation, where it began. So, but someone had brought it up. One of my friends asked, what was, or how many relationships I've been in, right? Official. So it just got me thinking, because officially I was numbering. I'm counting on my fingers, because that's literally that's how many relationships I've had in my entire life. Okay, again, I'm 3 years shy 40, so imagine, right? Only 7 relationships in my entire life. Solid ones, not even solid ones. If I could be real serious relationships, if I can count how many serious relationships I've had 3. 3 very sort of dedicated, committed, kind of relationships. The other ones were like sort of, I guess circumstances, products of circumstances. You know what I mean? And so it just got me to thinking, like, I've only had less than, just a little over half a dozen, right, of relationships. And I'm totally fine. I'm totally cool with that because I've always been that guy. Like I've said so many times, I'm not the hit it and quit it one night stand type of dude or hooking up or whatever. And I mean, well, okay. I'm not that guy now. Okay. No, I've never been the guy. Okay. Let me put it this way. I've never had a one night stand. Never desired it. Never, whatever. It wasn't a thing. I never wanted it. It's, again, not a desire at all. Okay. Now, so with that said, there were ill-advised hookups. And like I said before, hookups doesn't necessarily mean, getting into bed together or, having intercourse. It's not something like that. It doesn't lead to sex, always lead to sex. There are probably other, sexual acts. Just use your imagination on that one. So yeah, so that's been there, apart from my relationship, there has been those sort of like offshoots, things that are not official, unofficial kind of things. And I never really talked about it or really dug deep because it felt a little insignificant, even though it was always some kind of not weird, but a unique relationship with each and one of those women. Right. And, I would never dare to put them on blast. It's, it's not even about insulting or anything like that. It's just, again, I'm not gonna ever obviously mention names or things like that. Like there are there are girls apparently that I've hooked up with or macked out. Remember that? Remember the term macking? We used to mack, son. We were macking out. Out in the streets. We were macking in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Return off the Mac. Oh my God. No, so I've had a friend, a very close friend of mine who, we basically grew up in the same neighborhood. And so we used to hang out all the time, right? So he knows everything. I know all of his, ex-girlfriends. He knows all of the, that are women that I've been or whatever, been with. And, there were times, I remember him I don't know where the conversation came from, how it started or whatever. And he goes, yo, dude, remember, okay, I'm not going to say her actual name. What do I say? Let's say Carmen. Okay. Wait. Yeah. Okay. That's a safe name. Let's say Carmen. Okay. I remember he came up to me one day and or we were just chilling or whatever on the stoop, on the stairs or whatever. Cause back in the day, we didn't have social media. And we didn't obviously have that freedom that kids have nowadays to go to different places or whatever. We didn't have the resources, or we're just, from a middle working class family. And we were teenagers at the time, you know what I mean? Like we were kids, fucking 13, 14-year-old kids. So, not much. The internet was dial up. You know what I mean? That was our internet experience, fucking dial up. Okay. We were there, during the blogging days where people actually like proper blogging. Okay, typing shit, all right, and telling stories through there. And I've always been engaged in that to begin with. And we didn't really get to know strangers and stuff like that on the internet until like maybe early 2000s, right? That's where it picked up, where like Facebook and other social media websites like, social websites like MySpace, shit like that. But so that time it was the old school way of getting to know girls, you know what I mean? Like hooking up with girls, right? It's all physical. It's all in person, and you got to make your move, or you think you're making your move, but not really because you're so inexperienced. You're fucking things up, or you're just being a goofball, and then somehow you land the girl, and you're wondering how the fuck did that happen, right? So this is one of them, my boy Freddie, right? Shout out to Freddie. What's up, my dude? Freddie was like, hey, remember you hooked up with Carmen? I'm like, what? And this girl, Carmen, this girl was cute as fuck, like gorgeous, right? Gorgeous Latina girl. Of course, she's gorgeous Latina girl. We were all young and she's Latina. But yeah, she's gorgeous. And her, she had her mom, smoking. Okay, and there was another girl. Okay, listen, our neighborhood was lit. Like we had gorgeous ass Latinas. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm not gonna say Latina X because that's I don't know. I don't subscribe to that. So I'm just gonna say Latin women. Okay, just to be safe. I don't want to offend anybody. Please don't get offended. But where I come from is Latinas. Latinos also call the women Latinas, and we do Latinos and stuff like that. Anyways, millennials and Gen X, huh? So there was another girl. It's not just Carmen. That's not her real name, obviously. There was another girl. Let's call her. I can't use that name either. Crap. So there's Carmen, the one I just mentioned, and I'll get to the other girl later. so my friend was like, dude, you hooked up with Carmen. I'm like, what? I did, and I was confused because we were having a conversation much later when we were growing a little older, and we were having a convo about like all the girls in our neighborhood. Like the girls in the neighborhood were fine as fuck. Women, young women around our ages, of course, teenagers and older women as well, and they were just these freaking gorgeous women. It was just like a treasure trove, right? and that's actually where I got my first my first girlfriend, right? That's how I met my first ever girlfriend, who was half Potracaña and Mexicana, half, which is, oh my God, she's gorgeous. This 5'8" beautiful Latina woman, and so she was my first girlfriend. That's but. So before that, he was saying, yeah, but dude, you hooked up with, Carmen, dude. I remember that. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I hooked up with women that I didn't even know about. How was that possible? Like, my memory can't be that bad, And it wasn't that long after. It wasn't like 20 years later. We were talking about it, like, I think we were like in college at the time, like college years, early 20s, maybe. We were having that conversation. But I was like, yeah, you hooked up with Carmen, dude. I remember. I'm like, what? I don't remember shit. I remember she was fine as hell. Okay, like so many other gorgeous women in our neighborhood, But apparently I hooked up with Carmen. So, okay, cool. That's cool. I don't remember. I thought it'd be more memorable because of how freaking gorgeous she was, right? And then we would have like other like beautiful, just, my God, just gorgeous girls move into our neighborhood. And it was nuts. It was nuts. And so that's just, again, so that sort of like leads to, getting my first girlfriend, or whatever, what I thought was my first girlfriend anyways. But we sort of like, I remember the first time we met each other, it was so childish. It was so effing childish, you know what I mean? Like kids just being stupid as kids, right? So Freddie and I, and we knew each other initially from going to the same schools, right? So living in the same neighborhood was just like a bonus. That's fucking dope. I get to hang out with my buddy, in the neighborhood, and then of course I see him at school or whatever. So, that's it's all good, but. So my girlfriend at the time, for the sake of this story, and as we will hide the identities of the spoken, let's call her Jennifer, okay? Like Jennifer Lopez, okay? So I was gonna say Jennifer. So J-Lo, not Jennifer Lopez, but her last name was Garcia, so I'll just put that out there. Anyway, so Jen, let's call her Jen. So Jen was, like I said, this gorgeous, freaking 5'8", half Puerto Rican, half Mexican girl. Ugh, she was the hottest thing in the neighborhood, hottest thing on the block, right? Or blocks, whatever. In our entire apartment complex. And our apartment complex is pretty big. It's pretty huge, And if you grew up in the suburbs in California, whether it's complexes or houses or whatever, it's all about space, It's all about expanding. So our complex was huge. So we lived in one side of the complex. They lived in the other side. But, it was the same complex, right? And so one day we saw him, like playing around and stuff. And I'm like, yo, Freddie, let's go over there and spy on him, because we stupid. We were dumbass kids, okay? This was literally the summer before I got into high school, okay? I was 14. Freddie was 13, and we were just dumbass kids, right? So we were like, yo, let's go spy on him. So we want to spy on him, being all clever and being mischievous and shit. And they ended up following us. So it was her younger sister, Jennifer, let's call her, right? Jennifer, her younger sister, and a younger brother who was a freaking demon. You know those demon-ass kids? Like, just up to no good. They don't know any better, but they fucking like Tasmanian devils. He was one of them. Good God. What a pain in the ass. Anyways, he probably takes after his father because the father was a little, he was scurry. Let me just put it that way. He wasn't the most approachable guy. You know what I mean? Anyways, so at one time, I ain't gonna lie to you, he threw a racial slur at me one day, but we're gonna get to that later. And that was not cool. I was like, what the fuck? Fuck you, dude. Anyways, he's probably, I hope he's I hope he's good. Okay. I don't wish ill upon anybody. Hope he's all right. I hope he's not racist anymore, or, has learned to not be racist. Anyways. We would just like go over to their place, or their side of the complex, whatever, roam around the streets, spy on them and stuff like that. And one day they just caught us and I got trapped. She's like, oh, you try to outdo me, this and that. What's up? What are you doing over here? And all this stuff. And I was just like, I was so enamored by this girl because it wasn't, and this is probably where the root of all my relationship issues started, because I sat there and I'm looking at this girl. She's not just freaking drop dead gorgeous. This tall, beautiful goddess, like, figure, with this gorgeous freaking face, amazing figure. And she's standing there and I'm just like, oh my God, she's witty. Like, she's witty too, and she's a little cray-cray. Okay. But to me, it was like, oh my God, this is hot. Like, this girl is hot. It's not just about the looks with this girl. She knows how to, sort of like bite back. You know what I mean? Like, she's, like I said, she's very witty, and just good with, like, I don't know, and just good with being playful. You know what I mean? Like, playful, equally mischievous kind of thing. And I was like, damn, that's hot as fuck. And she was cray, usually, but it's cool, Latina women, it's, that's why I'm attracted to Latino women. I can't. Mira, look, listen, I did it in the last episode, but I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? Pedro, hold my baby. Don't talk to me like you know me, puta, okay? Thank God. Like, okay, first of all, like, she wasn't, I'm going to be real with you right now. She was not Chicana, but, like, I still, like, besides the accent and shit, like, she was hot as fuck. Okay, I'm gonna just put it like that. Like, she was fun, It's like the one girl. Have you guys seen that one girl on TikTok? Like, you better be obsessed with me, okay? Because, fool, let me tell you, fool, if you ain't obsessed with me, you better be obsessed with me. That if you're not, then I can't talk to you, okay? Sorry, I miss my Chicanas. I apologize. It's 2 episodes in a row. I've done it. This one's a little bit more, add a little thicker, because it's dedicated to my first girlfriend, who was not a Chicana. But although I did have a crush on a Chicana and also a fake relationship. We'll save that for another day. Again, young and stupid things. So yeah, I was instantly I was hooked. She was gorgeous, this beautiful girl. Fucking, like went head to head, when it came to wits. You know what I'm saying? She knew how to deal with the dude, you know what I mean? I was like, hell yeah. Love it. And there were those, aggressive tendencies, which I clearly apparently I'm attracted to, which gets me into trouble. But yeah, it was just weird. It was like very much puppy love. It didn't last long. It was very short. But there were other, according to my main man Freddie over here, there were other girls in the neighborhood, which I will probably discuss at a later date. This is quickly becoming my journal. It's sort of like excerpts from my my manuscript, excommunications that I mentioned not too long ago on this podcast. That's what it's becoming. And you know what? Hell, I might as well just talk about it here, right? I mean, you can always create a work of fiction, a story into something, whether it's a book or into a television series or whatever. You can always do that later, so that's not a problem, right? So yeah, it was her, it was Jennifer, and and it was not just too long ago we sort of reconnected, and I think it was through. Was it through Facebook? Yeah, it was through Facebook, and for a while, and then there was Instagram, and she disappeared. I don't know where she is now. She's got kids and everything, so I hope she's doing well. She's obviously not listening to this podcast, but yeah, I just hope she's doing well. She's a great girl, awesome girl. Just hope she has her life together and healthy. That's what matters most. And yeah, it was crazy shit. It was crazy shit, crazy days. I got into a lot of misadventures with girls in my younger years, and I think that's probably why all that stuff is probably out of my system now. And that's why. Looking back at it, that's the only reason I only had like maybe 7 real girlfriends, and out of those 7, 3 were like major, sort of long-lasting kind of relationships, if you want to call it long-lasting, but longer than the others, and more serious, more intense, more passionate than the others. So yeah, it was crazy stuff, man. You know what else is crazy though? The movie Prey. What a segue, huh? You see what I did there? So that's good. Yeah. So anyways, we're gonna get into that, and I promise I will share many, many stories about my younger years, and my run-ins with so many wonderful, wonderful women. So we're gonna talk about Prey, and another wonderful woman, who of course is the lead in this film. Just came out this year, 2022. It's 20th Century Fox. Prey, of course, is the prequel to the 1980s, version of the movie, the first Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Get out of here, everybody get down, the bomb in there. And it was it's a excuse me. So if this were to be a sequel, I would say this is the best sequel in the Predator franchise. Because it's that good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not kidding you. And I know if you for example, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes right now, it's actually, for the audience score, it's 81%, which is a little surprising to me. Because I thought the audience would appreciate it as much as the critics did, because the critics, 92%. And I agree with that. Actually, I would totally 100% agree. That's like a low A, right? Like a low A, 92%. So I totally agree with the critics on this one. I'm a little surprised with the audience score. I don't know. Maybe they have an affinity for the original, Predator, or the first Predator sequel as well. So there was a lot of nostalgic things there. But yeah, so this is the origin story. Apparently, I don't know if is it the origin story, because you're not really seeing where the Predator comes from. It is a prequel because, well, let me just read it really quick for you. The origin story of the Predator in the world of the Comanche Nation. 300 years ago, Naru, a skilled female warrior, fights to protect her tribe against one of the first highly evolved predators to land on Earth. Naru, you have done your Comanche tribe proud. Sorry, that was my failed Native American. By the way, and I've said this before, Native American people are fucking beautiful. Beautiful people. Wonderful. I'm not just talking about the spirituality. I'm talking about they're just freaking gorgeous. Okay? And with that said, Amber Midthunder is fantastic in this movie. I thought she was great. I liked her in Legion, FX's Legion. But she was playing a sort of it was not sort of it was a supporting role, so she takes lead in this, which and I'm not really surprised by her sort of physical attributes or what she was skilled in doing and what she pulled off in the film, because which of course there's a lot of action in this movie, and I wasn't surprised because you get to see that a little bit in Legion. So Amber Midthunder, I think, did a fantastic job, wonderful playing the character of Naru, and there was, I think, there was a little. It's not really a criticism. Maybe it's really small. It's a very small, tiny kind of. Maybe they could have done it differently. Which is, I wish there was, and I kind of agree with Christian Harloff on this. He was talking about how it would have been nice if all the the Comanche characters, the Native Americans, were speaking in just only Comanche. You know what I mean? But I also get why they spoke in English, because it's kind of like very similar to, I think we've seen in a lot of movies and television, more recent ones. I can't, top of my head, I can't really pinpoint the name of either, but there are times where, for example, if two characters, just an example, right? Let's say two Arab characters, right? They go up north, like Ibn Fahadlan, right? He went up north. He met the Norsemen, right? So it's kind of like for example, the 13th, where Antonio Banderas, right? He plays Ibn Fahadlan. So he speaks Arabic. He doesn't know. They're speaking, some kind of old Norse, ancient Norse, and so to him they're just speaking gibberish, right? But to the characters, the Norse characters, the English comes out, right? That's just for the audience to to let the audience understand that, okay, they're obviously speaking in in Old Norse, or whatever, maybe Danish, Icelandic, whatever at the time, excuse me, and so it's clear distinction that they're speaking Old Norse, but for us to better understand as the audience, they're speaking in English. So I get that. It makes sense, right? Even in this movie, there's French guys in here. They're speaking French. They're clearly not understanding, because you're seeing it from the perspective of Naru, her character. So to her, she's just hearing French, right? And so when she speaks with her Comanche tribe members, they're speaking in English because, again, they're trying to portray that they're speaking Comanche, right? And there is a little bit of Comanche in it. I just wish it was more of it. It was more. They were more fluent with it. I understand why they didn't do it. I get that. It just would have been more authentic. I guess it would have been really cool if that was the case, if they were able to do that. But also I understand people are maybe they don't want to be bothered by reading the freaking subtitles. I get that. Anyways, apart from that, it was a fantastic. It feels like a completely different film than the original Predator or the other Predators that you've probably seen in the past. And it's just sophisticated. It's just Dan Trachtenberg who directed it. The writers, the story was by Patrick Asen, Dan Trachtenberg and Jim Thomas. So, and of course Trachtenberg was also the director. So I think they did a fantastic job approaching this. It's very much a very sophisticated approach to the Predator franchise, and I also think it's quite appropriate to watch it on stream, like you watch it on Hulu. I was able to watch it because even though it's a 20th Century Fox, guess who owns 20th Century Fox? Disney, yay! And Hulu, of course, is owned by Disney, so again, getting to watch amazing films and TV shows on Disney Plus, and so Prey just dropped, I think 4 days ago, yeah. So I think that was like the worldwide release or whatever, and I was hearing so many good things about it. I was like, I gotta watch it. Let's watch it. It was on my list. Let's watch it. And I'm so glad I did, and I watched it at a perfect time. It was like no work was involved or anything like that during the day. So I was like, this is great. I was properly just, I was the edge of my seat. It's kind of that thing. So it's on Hulu or Disney Plus, wherever you want to watch it. And there's apart from Amber Midthunder. The other characters or the other actors may not be as familiar to you, which is understandable because it's a little lower budget, which is obviously you understand. But again, I think that's the beauty of filmmaking, is that there are some great filmmakers out there who make a lot out of little to nothing, right? And since this is not being, released in theaters, and of course, there were early viewing in the theater setting for film pundits or film critics and things like that. And of course, the excuse me, the word was good. The word went around. It was really good. Picked up a lot of great attraction. And this is something they will definitely 100% take advantage of in the sense that it is a prequel, right? Which means there is room for sequels to this specific prequel, the Prey film, not Predator, but Prey. But of course, the Predator alien creature is in this film. It starts. That's where this landing on Earth kind of thing, and the movie takes place, like I said earlier, in the 300 years ago. So I think the opening credits, if I can remember, the opening of the film, I think it takes place in 1719. So in the 18th century of at the time, it was in North America, but of course it was in the United States. This is before that, around the colonization time period, and around, of course, where the Comanche land was at the time. So, there was a lot of European sort of settlers and colonists, the British and the French and so on. And but I thought it was so freaking cool and so authentic to how you saw these Native Americans. And of course, there are certain aspects is for entertainment purposes. People doing flips and shit off of trees. I get it. It's for the action. It's understandable. It's not something that they would probably try in a real world type of battle or an approach to battle for Native Americans. Anyway, so it's just a great film. It's an action thriller. There are elements of horror, but not really. It's more of a thriller. Yes, there's gore in it and things like that. But it's not something that you're going to be scared of. You know what I mean? Especially this is Predator. So it's this is a creature that we've seen in multiple films. Nothing really that surprising anymore. But the cool thing about Prey is the story itself and how they go on about fighting this Predator, this Predator-esque alien race. So yeah, it's mostly about that, and I'm glad they took the, a non-blockbuster approach to it. You don't need freaking money to up the wazoo to make a really good film, and they did it with this, and they accomplished that with the resources they had, and the script is great, the acting, the performances, the action, of course, that's sort of a given, and the thrilling aspect as well. It was a great balance, It's like when you put all the ingredients together and just comes out this delicious dish, and it's fantastic. And it's something that it's just this is what a film that's made for streaming purposes should be. You get what I'm saying? This is how you, in a very astute manner, approach filmmaking that's not going to go in theaters, but you're delivering a cinematic experience for people at home that are streaming on their, laptops or their, smart TVs or iPads or, tablet, whatever they have, right? I purposely leave smartphones out of that because I do not know how people find it enjoyable to watch a TV show or movies on a fucking smartphone. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm old school because I love watching it in theaters and things like that. And of course, you still have a nice sized TV. Ladies and gentlemen, just get yourself a really nice TV. It's not that expensive. It really is not that expensive nowadays. It used to be a fucking luxury. I mean, technically a television is still a luxury, obviously, but dude, if you can afford it. If you can afford it, I'm telling you, you can afford it. You can afford a very good quality 4K Ultra HD television. It's really not that expensive. You know what I mean? And you're not going to be taking too much out of it, or unless you're like a hardcore into, cinema or, watching video content or whatever. That's different. But it's not that expensive, man. It's affordable. It's crazy affordable. So just with that said, so this is definitely something that's enjoyable. You will be entertained. I highly fucking recommend this movie. I think you'll have fun. It's okay. It doesn't mean that it's not like a masculine centric kind of. I mean, the lead is a female character, a woman, a badass fucking woman. So ladies, I'm telling you, you're gonna enjoy this. It's very thrilling, like I said. It's great action. It's very entertaining, but also the story. I think again, just a great balance between everything, and I loved it. It was awesome. Well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna wrap it up here for episode 23 of the House of Moody Vintage podcast. I love discussing old school stories. I think I'm gonna bring it out the woodworks, man. Why not? Why the fuck not? Because the approach that I had with the show, the script that I wrote for the TV show, is also quite different from the book that I started writing about it. And but it's all excommunications, right? So that's the title of my project that hopefully one day I'll get produced and just filmed. That'd be really fun. And it's a story. It's a South Asian American story, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for representation. I'm here. I'm going to give you that representation. Anyways, yeah, so that's like on the bucket list. Why not? But those stories I will reveal probably episode by episode. I'm probably going to start, titling the episode the same titles I had for the chapters in the manuscript or in the episodes for the TV series. Why not? Makes me be more creative. I can change the titles later when it does come to actually producing the show. Who knows? I can be the showrunner. That'd be dope. Anyways, thank you so much for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. And thank you so much for the feedback, guys. I honestly, your feedback, it really does mean a lot. It really does. I know I don't ask for it. I know I jokingly, stupidly said, "Hey, give me 5 stars and Apple Podcasts and all that stuff." And I do want to build the traffic, which again just builds for more engagement and of course leads to better conversations. And hopefully, man, I'm really trying to. I want to pull the switch or turn the switch on to get a co-host, or just do like a reoccurring guest or something like that. I still need to convince my friend. So thank you so much for listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and watching on YouTube as well. And of course, follow me on Instagram, whatever, so that I'm dropping new episode or whatever, clips and whatnot. And thank you as usual. Have a great week. I hope you guys have a great week ahead. I know this is like, for some it's hump day for some. For some hump days tomorrow. So either way, hope you're having a great time, and just take care of yourselves. All right, and remember, treat yourselves. All right. Until next time. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but love, and good stuff, good vibes, and positive energy coming right at you from this guy. I'm out this piece. Peace.